All right, here we go. Hello, everyone. It's Mary McCarley, the Health Education Content Specialist with Goodheart-Willcox and the co-author of the Middle School Health Program. I was a health teacher for 15 years in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools, and now with Goodheart-Willcox, my main responsibility is to provide the training, professional development, and ongoing support of teachers. So in this short webinar, I'm going to highlight our 2025 copyright skills-based middle and high school health education resources. So we are Goodheart-Willcox. We've actually been around for over 100 years. And for most of those 100 years, we were well known as the premier CTE publishing company. Then in 2015, we started creating our health education resources in response to the need for a quality, up-to-date, skills-based resource that was developed by experts in health education and Shape America award-winning Teachers of the Year. Since 2015, we have dominated the health market with our age-appropriate content and skills-based approach. And our middle and high school resources have quickly become the most widely used resource across the United States. So from Vancouver to Los Angeles to Dallas and Houston and Miami and Minneapolis and Atlanta, to name a few of the many school districts that are using our resources. So much of our success is due to this award-winning author team. So while Catherine Sanderson and Mark Zellman, they wrote the middle and the high school health textbook. And that can often be really beneficial for districts who are reviewing us for middle and high school. And having that same author team really allows them to build on concepts and skills over time as students move from middle school into their high school years. Now, myself and Lindsay, we developed the pedagogy for middle school, and the three teachers on the bottom developed the high school pedagogy. You can see that 4 of us are Shape America award-winning Teachers of the Year. So really anything students are doing, all the skills-based activities and assessments, performance tasks, your rubrics, your answer keys, your lesson plans were all developed by us teachers. So it truly is a program developed by teachers for teachers. Now, it does fully align with the new National Health Education Standards, the National Sex Education Standards, and the HECAT. We also fully integrate with learning management systems as well, such as Canvas and Schoology, to name a few of the many. Now, you can see that everything is built for you within that lesson folder or module. Teachers, you can publish and unpublish the resources. You can modify as needed and even add existing resources into our lesson modules. You'll be happy to know that while we also have auto-graded options like a lesson quiz and a module exam, you'll also be able to create your assignments as Word or Google Doc, whichever is preferred. It's also really easy to use with Google Classroom, and we know a lot of districts are rostering with Clever or ClassLink, and teachers prefer Google Classroom. So really anything from our platform can be posted right to Google Classroom as a link, like a page of the textbook or a video, an animation, a flashcard, and teachers you'll also be able to assign as a Google Doc. So we've got a few versions of our textbook. So option number 1 is what we call our comprehensive version. The comprehensive version includes all health topics in the main text, including sexual health. While the essential version, think of that as a textbook that houses about 70% of health content. And then we house the other health content, which may be considered a more sensitive topic, in a companion text. So you can see that this version of the companion text is called Human Development and Relationships, and it houses lessons on the following 3 topics, as you can see on the left-hand side. Now, all of those topics and lessons are aligned to the new National Health Education Standards and does not include information on sexual health. Now, this version of the companion text has those same 3 modules, but then it also includes information on sexual health. So our companion texts are available both in print and digital, and all of these lessons also integrate with learning management systems, and it's also easy to use with Google Classroom. It's just nice to have that flexibility to be able to release those lessons when a teacher best sees fit. And again, same for high school with the essential version offering a companion text without sexual health and one with sexual health. Now, our digital textbook is available both in English and Spanish. It does match page for all students. Now, the program meets accessibility guidelines as well. What that often means for teachers is that if you do have a student who struggles to read, the program can be read aloud using their built-in screen reader or a text-to-speech app. We also partner with Bookshare. So Bookshare is available for all school districts, and it's specifically for students who have reading barriers. So like my son has an IEP, so my son would qualify as well, and he does have a reading barrier. So he could follow along karaoke style while it's highlighting, or it also could be read in Braille, and there's several other accommodations as well. Our textbooks appeal to the visual learner. There's brightly colored images and infographics throughout. We're very intentional to make sure that our images are culturally inclusive and diverse. And our scenarios really represent students across the United States. So we truly do want students to see their faces in the pages of our text. There's a strong focus on the practice of skills. So while our textbook is divided by content, meaning there's a lesson on vaping, a lesson on alcohol, or self-esteem, we've been very intentional to make sure that we're embedding those skills-based activities within the pages of the textbook. So there's case studies. There's also building your skills features, or health in the media in high school, and there's several other high school features as well. Again, always reinforcing the practice of the other 7 skill areas. Now let's take a look at our online platform. So at the end of this presentation, if you would like online access to be able to explore our resources, we are going to reach out to you, and we've actually already set up a sample for you to immediately get online. You'll have the option to review the middle school or the high school program, and again, either the comprehensive or the essential. So how you navigate one program will be exactly the same as how you navigate another program. So this particular platform was built for the Google Classroom user. Remember that if you do integrate with a learning management system, then you would not necessarily be navigating this platform. It would all be built for you in your LMS. I'm just going to choose module 4. And on the left-hand side, you'll see the textbook in English, the textbook in Spanish. I'll just click the textbook in English, and I can choose a lesson just by clicking on the lesson title. On the left-hand side, there is a toolbar. The home always takes you back to the main landing page. I can zoom in and see this page closer. I could zoom back out. And I can also search by a key term or page number. And to go to the next page, you just scroll down. At the top, you'll see our learning outcome statements. There's key terms, an essential question. We have a reading and note-taking activity. Now, high school, if you're navigating our high school book, the first thing you'll see at the top right here would be a warm-up activity, and we have clearly identified the skill. Middle school, there is an introduction. Both middle and high school are divided by sections. That is intentional. We know that students may not necessarily read all of lesson 4.1 in one sitting, so we wanted to chunk it for the teacher. Now, one of the middle school strategies we use is at the end of each section, there are the reading checkpoint questions. The teacher can review as a full class, but teachers, you'll also have this as a digital copy so that you could assign that as a Word or Google Doc. I'll continue to scroll down. We're very intentional about that smaller paragraph size to increase comprehension, decrease reader fatigue. Notice that vocabulary terms are highlighted as well. Again, because we meet accessibility guidelines, if the student needs the text read aloud, they can use their built-in screen readers or a text-to-speech app. Now, post-COVID, there was a lot of research that that just mentioned how COVID affected students' reading levels. So we did decrease our reading level. So middle school, you're at a 6.4 reading level. High school, you're at an 8.6 reading level. Within the pages, you will see these built-in features like this one, building your skills. And then you can see we have identified the skill being practiced. Now, teachers, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to do that activity. It just provides you the option to do that activity. Here's another. We've got Gia's self-esteem. And now we're analyzing influences. So you can see how we're strategic about embedding those skills-based features within the pages. And you'll see that both in our middle and high school program. There is a reading summary at the end. High school, you will also have the comprehend concept questions at the end, which are those text-dependent questions. Middle school, yours are actually built right in the pages of the text with those reading checkpoint questions. Both middle and high school has critical thinking, and both middle and high school also has the develop your skills feature. So another opportunity for students to practice skills. And, you know, as co-authors, we've been very intentional to use the strategy multiple modes of engagement. So we know that students don't necessarily learn the same, and that we wanted to make sure that different learning styles were represented. So students may be doing research, they may be working with a partner practicing refusal lines or positive self-talk. They may be creating an advocacy project. So we really wanted students to express and show proficiency of skills in different ways. So this was an overview on how to navigate our textbook. Now you can see that it is available in full Spanish as well and does match page for page. Now we're going to stay within module 4, and you can see in the middle of the screen that I can actually toggle between student-facing resources and teacher-facing resources. So I'm going to click on student-facing resources and just for a few minutes go briefly back to my PowerPoint. So in addition to the textbook, we also offer great student resources like videos and animations that have all recently been updated. We also have vocabulary terms as our vocabulary interactive tools as well that are intended to provide the student immediate feedback. We offer a workbook. So our workbook is available in print. It's also available digitally as well. The workbook is intended to extend learning, practice skills, put students in real life situations and scenarios, ask them questions like, what do you do? What do you say if you're in that situation? So as a teacher, you could print one page, cut it along the lines, get your students in small groups, pass out a scenario to each group, let them work together, and then debrief as a class. And let them share out as a class. Or maybe you have your students work in teams of 2 for 10 minutes, really letting them collaborate and practice those skills together and then debrief. Or you could assign it within your learning management system or Google Classroom as a Word or Google Doc, whichever is preferred. It is also available in Spanish. We also offer additional handouts, such as reading guides. So middle school, remember those reading checkpoint questions? You'll have a digital copy of those for every lesson. High school, even though you don't have the reading checkpoint questions, we still wanted to hold students accountable for being active readers. So we did create a reading guide for every lesson, all available in English and Spanish in an editable format. So our docx files are basically Word documents that have already been formatted to upload as a Google Doc. So you can edit them, you could print them, or assign them as a Word or Google Doc. Middle school, anything in the pages of the textbook, if it works well as a digital copy, you'll find it as a digital copy, both in English and Spanish. High school, we wanted to extend learning and practice rigor. And so an increase rigor. And so we offer these additional activities like our skill development and case study assessments, all intended to extend learning, practice skills. Now, at the end of the lesson, high school, those questions are a direct pull right from the textbook. Middle school, even though you didn't have those 5 text-dependent questions at the end of the lesson, we still created it as a handout in case a teacher wanted it. So let's take a quick look at where you would find these resources. So if I go to lesson 4.1 and make sure that student is clicked, I can scroll down. Here you'll see your reading guide. This is a digital copy of the activity right from the textbook, Gia Self-Esteem. Now, when you click on these, they'll go to your downloads. Just open it up. You can click Enable Editing, make any changes you would like, print it, or upload it to your drive and assign it as a Google Doc, or you can assign it as a Word document. Also, you'll see workbook pages. This particular lesson has 4 workbook pages you can choose from. Depending on what skill you want to use or the needs or practice or the needs of your students, you may choose one over the other. And then high school, in addition to the workbook pages, you'll also see skill development activities just below the workbook page, depending on the lesson you're looking at. And again, those are also intended to extend learning, practice skills, and increase rigor. Also, you will, in middle school, you will see a vocabulary activity for every lesson. Both middle and high school also have the review questions. So you can see that all of these documents can be downloaded, looked at, decide which one you want to use, and assign it as a Word or Google Doc. They're also available in Spanish here. So for the teacher that likes more text-dependent questions, you may choose the reading guide, or even the lesson review questions, or the vocabulary activity. If you like the more skills-based approach, I would definitely look for activities from the textbook, our workbook pages, and high school, you're also going to want to look at those skill development activities. Now, teachers, if you're thinking to yourself, well, I like the idea of downloading it, or I like the idea of having an editable copy, but I don't necessarily want to download it. So this is where our zip files will really save a lot of time for teachers. So if I click on Module 4 Zip and open it up, this is all of Module 4 or the individual lesson folders. So you could take these folders, bring it into your drive, and they automatically convert to Google Docs. So that is going to be a time saver. So these are our student-facing handouts, but in addition to the handouts, we also, depending on the lesson you're looking at, you might find a video or animation. Just click on it to take a look at it. You can also view the transcript. Every lesson has English flashcards for both middle and high school. You just click it to flip it. The student can remove it and click next to go to the next one. Every lesson has those in English, Spanish, and has those in full Spanish as well. Every lesson has a matching activity, and this is really just intended for students to practice. I'm just typing in a few answers. And when I click check, the program prompts me to try again. If I had gotten one right, this one would be green, the rest would be red, and it would prompt me to keep trying. So again, just an opportunity to self-assess. Every lesson has a vocabulary game. It is set up similar to Jeopardy. Whether they get it right or wrong, it does tell them the correct answer. Every lesson for both middle and high school also has a spelling challenge. Play the term, try to spell it correctly, and a glossary and an audio summary. So these are all of our student-facing resources as well. Remember, if you're using a learning management system, they'll all be built within that learning management system. If you're using Google Classroom, you'll just pick and choose what you want to use and post it to Google Classroom. Now, I am going to switch to our teacher-facing resources so you can see how you toggle between the two. And for just a few minutes, I'll briefly go back to my PowerPoint presentation to highlight it, and then I'll navigate it as well. So we also have extensive teacher resources. Think of these as like a menu. You may not use them all, but they're there to be used based on your teaching style and the needs of your students. We offer our Teachers Edition. It's available both in print and digital. Middle school strategy, you can see on the bottom. Anything in the textbook that is skills-based. We have leveled a 1, 2, 3. 3 is most rigorous, 1 is easiest, and we have provided options to level up and level down. We offer course planning guides. We know that in middle school, a lot of districts do use us in multiple grades. We do have multiple in several different course planning guides to pick from. I also work with districts to create customized course planning guides. We know that health is always changing, and we want to make sure that teachers are always staying up to date. So 2 to 4 times per school year, we're going to add brand new lessons as Word documents to our teacher resources. We're not going to change the pages of the textbook. But for the student, it looks like an extra lesson of the textbook. There are lesson review questions and a skills-based workbook page. There was recently some new information released in the past few months on fentanyl. So we did do a lesson update for that one. We actually have a new lesson update being posted in the next 2 weeks on loneliness. So these will automatically post for teachers. The only topic we don't post on is we don't post on sexual health, because we understand that many school districts do need a review process for that topic. Every lesson has its own lesson plan, which begins with a bell ringer, introduction to lesson activities, classroom activities, independent practice, and closure. We do provide options for differentiation as well within our lesson plans. Every lesson has a PowerPoint with PowerPoint guided notes. All of these options are available for both middle and high school. Also, if you remember those reading guides in the teacher resources, we actually offer an easier version to help guide the struggling reader. We have teacher-directed activities to engage students in full class discussion and activities, and when appropriate, we include rubrics. Also, we offer our parent trusted adult engagement homework assignments. These are short homework assignments to engage families and extend learning home. Now, teachers, when you finish a module, I know I've often thought to myself, do I want to give a skills-based performance task? In our program, you'll have 4 different performance tasks to choose from, rubrics included. Or do you want to just give a traditional exam or lesson quiz? We offer those as well, differentiated by easy, moderate, and difficult. But if you integrate with a learning management system like Canvas or Schoology, then your lesson quizzes and module exams are already built for you in your LMS, and it does auto grade. Lastly, opt-out resources. So on that occasion that you may have a student whose parent guardian does opt out of a lesson, we have created the alternative activities for students. So let's take a look at the online platform in these last 5 minutes. So you can see that instructor is clicked. Off to the side, for the teacher who loves that zip file, we do offer that for the teacher resources as well. It does include the PowerPoint presentation. Every lesson has a lesson plan. Every lesson has scope and sequence, which is basically a document that shows you all the activities and the skill being practiced. Every lesson has a pre-assessment, like a pre-quiz or a post-quiz. So again, when you click on these, just open them up. You can enable editing. You could print this. You could also copy and paste the questions into a Google form and have it auto-graded. Or these questions are already built for you in your learning management system. Every lesson has an easier version of the reading guide. Every lesson has a PowerPoint. Just click on it, open it up. You can see that you can enable editing. All of our PowerPoints have been formatted to upload as slides, and they do follow the flow of the text. So it's a great combination of both text and content think about it questions or critical thinking questions, and then also slides that practice skills. And if you want your students to actively follow along, there are the PowerPoint guided notes. There are teacher-directed activities depending on the lesson you're looking at, and there are also parent engagement homework assignments depending on the lesson that you're looking at. If I scroll to another lesson, you'll find out that the format is very similar for both middle and high school. There is a teacher's edition. And we also have our assessment and answer key section. So once a teacher is done with a module, here is your review day lesson plan, letter for families that just highlights the lessons included, all your answer keys, anything that has a logical answer key. We know that some things are very much skills-based. Middle and high school will offer a few different activities right here, but both middle and high school does have that more skills-based performance task approach. So this lesson, most lessons for middle and high school, most modules, for middle and high school have 4 different summatives you can choose from. The first page is always directions for the teacher, a step-by-step guide on how to do it, the task for the student, and a rubric for grading as well. So it's nice to know that you do have the option if you want to practice accessing valid information, if you would rather practice standard 8 advocacy or standard 7, it just gives you options. And then of course we do have our exams, a more traditional test, leveled 1, 2, or 3, or easy, moderate, and difficult. So we do offer a test generator, which is a third-party software as an option, but teachers, we've also just posted the questions right in the platform as well. So if you wanted to copy and paste these, put them in a Google form and have them auto-graded. But just know that if you're integrating with the learning management system, those will already be loaded for you. So regardless of what module you're navigating, how you navigate these for both middle and high school will be the same. We also just lastly offer the course planning section. This is a great place to go if you want to explore our 2 to 4 brand new lessons every school year. So you can see them and actually see the archived ones as well. Just click on it, open it up, and you'll see that the first few pages is all for the teacher to learn about the topic. Also, there's some really good information on best practices, engaging ELL learners, teaching sensitive content, and more. For both middle and high school, we offer our course planning guides. You'll see the correlation to the new National Health Education Standards, National Sex Education Standards. We know that many of your states may also have state standards. So if you reach out to us directly, we'll often be able to provide you the correlation to your state standards. Also, there are rubrics and templates. We just have some additional rubrics and templates to just help teachers as much as we can. And then lastly, as you scroll down, those opt-out materials, if a child does opt out of a particular topic. So I know I've been navigating our comprehensive version, but how you navigate the comprehensive version will be the same as the essential and also the companion text as well for both middle and high school. So I do hope that this was helpful in just showing you all of our resources, showing you how to navigate our review platform. Our resources are loved across the United States. And again, we have quickly become the most widely used resource. They are developed by experts in health ed and Shape America award-winning Teachers of the Year. As I mentioned, they're aligned to the state standards, the National Health Education Standards, National Sex Education Standards. We are inclusive and diverse. This is a 2025 copyright, but we still provide the ongoing lesson updates. It is easy to use with Google Classroom. We provide options to roster with Clever and ClassLink, and we do provide that full integration with learning management systems like Canvas, Schoology, and others. Teachers love our extensive Spanish resources, including our online textbook, workbook, handouts, and more. And then also providing our documents as editable docx files. Knowing that teachers need to meet the unique needs of students and having that ability to edit seems to have been very important for teachers, and to be able to assign as a Google Doc or Word document. We do provide a lot of choice, knowing that teachers can pick and choose what best meets the needs of their students. And lastly, we are absolutely committed to the training, professional development, and ongoing support of teachers all over the United States. So this is an easy way to just log into our platform. Now, this is what we call our Explore sample. So it does limit you to one module, but it gives you a chance to just begin clicking around. We have captured your information early when you signed up for this webinar, so we'll reach out just to see if you have any other needs, if we can send you any additional resources to help you guys in your review process. I did just want to thank you for your time today. Again, this is Mary McCarley. You're welcome to reach out to me. My email, it appears as though my email may be cut off at the bottom. My email is just McCarley, my last name, that's McCarley at g-w.com. I'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions and make sure you have all the resources you need for your review. So thank you guys so much for your time, and I do hope you have a wonderful day.